Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Wherever you're listening around the world, a very warm welcome from London in the UK. Here is today's news about electric cars and the future of transports. I go through every EV article online, so you don't have to. My name is Martin Lee, and this is your EV News Daily for Monday, the 23rd of April, 2018. Well, the current Model 3 tracker from Tom Randall and Dean Halford, as updated on the 22nd of April, shows, if you are looking at the Model 3 production numbers, a total of 19,160 cars estimated to be produced, and that's a rate of 2,733 Model 3s being made per week, which is no real change week on week. Also, a little mention for someone who listens to the podcast, and actually more of a mention for his wife. Darren listens in the UK. Darren S, actually, and says, I've added you to my flash briefing on his Amazon Alexa, and it's another 10 minutes in bed. Lucky him to listen to the latest EV news. Any chance of a shout out for my wife, Julie? Hello, Julie, who usually listens with me. She needs cheering up as someone's reversed into her Renault Zoe. Ugh, I hate that. It's only metal. I'm glad you're okay. You can always fix the car. But it's still a pain. Right. Well, coming up on today's show, we'll talk about the Chinese startup Byton and why one former CEO of a major car company is turning electric. But first of all, Auto China 2018. It opens this week, and it follows Beijing's decision to allow full foreign ownership of Chinese automakers in a move that'll make the industry more flexible as it promotes electrics, reports CTV.ca. That is reflected in the auto show lineup. Global and Chinese brands, including GM, Volkswagen, Nissan, are going to display dozens of EVs and plug-in hybrids, from luxurious SUVs to compacts priced as low as $24,000. Well, there is huge potential for vehicle electrification here, says Roland Krueger. He's the chairman of Infiniti, Nissan's luxury brand. VW is due to launch 15 electrics and hybrids in the next 2 to 3 years as part of a €10 billion or $12 billion US plan to develop their EVs, announced last November. Nissan are going to be at the show as well, unveiling an electric model at the auto show designed for China exclusively. Of course, their new Leaf is going to be there as well, and an electric concept car. Well, the Japanese automaker also plans to develop a lower-priced EV with a local partner, the state-owned Dongfeng Motor Co. 2 more versions of that are to be sold under their jointly owned Venucia brand. And staying in China, BYD Auto, the biggest global maker of electric cars by volume, with 2017 sales of over 110,000 units, are going to unveil 2 new hybrid SUVs and an EV concept car. The company also plans to display 9 other hybrids and plug-in hybrids. I'll keep an eye on the auto show in China, and as we get the news through the week, you'll get it on the podcast. Well, earlier on yesterday, there was a live stream of the unveiling of the Volkswagen ID.R. Pikes Peak. It's as the name implies, it's the car that they've designed to take on the infamous hill climb. The car was unveiled yesterday in France before its first shakedown test. It is ready to go. 0 to 60 in 2.25 seconds. There is 500 kilowatts of power, and that's 680 brake horsepower. All-wheel drive, tops out at 150. That 0 to 60 time, by the way, Volkswagen were keen to point out, quicker than a Formula E or a Formula One car. Well, this quote says, as with Volkswagen brand's production vehicles, fully electric racing cars will play an increasingly important role for us in the future, says Sven Schmitz. He is VW's motorsport director, and he continues, and I quote, the cooperation within the group really helped us, particularly given the tight schedule. For example, we received support from the Volkswagen battery plant and worked together with the technical development department in Wolfsburg. Now, that battery plant is in a place that, when I said it last time on the podcast, somebody, I don't know whether they speak German or whether they were German, emailed me to go, by the way, that battery plant, not how you say that name. So I thought it was Braunschweig or Brown Schweig. Anyway, I've lost the email now, or maybe it was a tweet and someone said, hey, by the way, that's not how you say that name. Anyway, it's where VW are making their batteries. It's just not said that way. Well, moving on, and the Financial Times, the FT in the UK, reported yesterday on the former Opel CEO, Carl Thomas Neumann, joining the directors at eVelocity. It's an electric car startup backed by the former Faraday Future CFO, Stefan Kraus. Well, it was last year when Opel and Vauxhall was sold by GM to PSA Peugeot Citroën that he left the company. Before joining Opel, he was also an EV advocate within VW, and he wanted to move Opel into an electric era, but never got the chance to do that. Well, eVelocity wants to develop a skateboard architecture. This is how Tesla do it, how the next-gen electric cars are. The battery and the four wheels and the suspension and everything inside that skateboard that you need, or the charging infrastructure, the inverter, etc. Then you just put different bodies on top. They see opportunities for personal cars, for delivery vehicles, and for ride-hailing EVs. Well, there's a plug-in version of the Jaguar XE coming soon in a bid to take on the plug-in battle right up against the BMW 330e. Now, the car's powertrain combines a pretty common formula, if I'm honest, with that size plug-in hybrid. The 1.5-litre 3-cylinder petrol engine is connected to an electric motor. Also serves as the engine's starter motor to enable a limited range of pure electric running, says Sam Sheehan at Autocar. The electrified powertrain will use a lithium-ion battery pack that comes as part of the soft 48-volt hybrid architecture. Now, the system is going to be shared with the Range Rover Evoque plug-in hybrid from Jaguar's sister brand Land Rover, as well as other models from the group. Many car makers are trying to plug the gaps left by diesel sales falling off a cliff in most markets in Europe. But for Jaguar Land Rover, diesels until recently was 90% of their sales, so they have a lot to lose, and that's why they're moving to electrification. And soft hybrids are a very efficient way to do that. They're a very cost-effective way to do that, I should say. And finally, the Chinese EV maker Byton says they are 85% production ready after showing off an SUV at the Milan Design Week last week. Byton's factory in Nanjing, I think it's China, made its first prototype last week as well. They're set to go on sale in China next year, well, late next year actually, in 2019. It'll arrive in Europe and the US in 2020. A recap on the specs for Byton's SUV: two choice of batteries, 71 or 95 kilowatt hours. That's good for 250 or 323 miles of range. And the powertrain, you either get 200 kilowatt motor on rear-wheel drive or 350 kilowatts of power on all-wheel drive. Well, Byton's design chief, Benoit Jacob, says of the fledgling range, and I quote, "We worked on the family from the beginning, and it's designed so we can avoid re-engineering things every single time from an architecture and platform point of view. That means we can have a price point that is really attractive. And if they're selling EVs in China, they're going to get that price point really low. And then when those Chinese cars, just as everything else electronic that you buy, whether it's your laptop or your mobile phone that's in your hand, that's all made in China. When you start buying EVs made in China, you know the price is going to be super, super low. Well, I would love to spread the word about electric cars. If you can, share this with somebody who might be interested. And you can listen to every previous episode of the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, TuneIn, Stitcher, and the blog evnewsdaily.com. We're working on SoundCloud. Couple more days, leave it with me. Remember to subscribe, which means you don't have to think about downloading the show each day. Plus, you get it first and free and automatically. And it would mean a lot if you could, but no worries. If not, leave a little review. Maybe a little star rating on whatever platform you like. I mentioned Amazon Echo earlier. Yep, you can download the Alexa skill. It's EV News Daily, and you can say hi on Facebook, LinkedIn and Twitter. Just search EV News Daily. Have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you tomorrow.